back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to head back to 1990 once again for another R-rated action film. But before we do that, do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, please. I greatly would appreciate that. And as always, a shameless plug, because I have to do it, for my TeePublic page. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below if you're interested. Now today, like I said, back to 1990, folks, for another R-rated action film. And this one is Marked for Death. Yes, we're going to go do some Seagal today. Marked for Death came out October 5th of 1990. It's rated R, hour and 33 minutes long, had a budget of $12 million. And upon release, this was hugely successful. It made $46 million in America and $57 worldwide. So this was a huge hit for Seagal because he was coming off of Above the Law and Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill came out before this, although they came out the same year. Hard to Kill came out earlier in the year, and it was hugely successful. It was so successful, in fact, that the production company, which was 20th Century Fox, gave Dwight Little, who directed this film, another $1 million towards the budget because they figured they had a surefire hit in their hands. Now that Seagal landed in Hollywood with Hard to Kill, made so much money. So yeah, it was $12 million at the end of the day. Now, like I said, Dwight Little directed this film. Dwight Little was coming off of The Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund in 1989. He got this movie based off his work on Halloween 4, actually. And then right after this, he would go on to do Rapid Fire, which I reviewed just like a month ago with Brandon Lee. He got that movie based off the success of this film. Now, in this film, as you can see his mug right there all over his Blu-ray, we got Steven Seagal as Hatcher. He works for the DEA. And Keith David, the great Keith David's in here, is his buddy Max when he goes back to his hometown, which is Chicago. Basil Wallace plays Screwface, our main villain here. And then we got a bunch of recognizable character actors. Danielle Harris makes an appearance as Hatcher's niece. She was reteaming with Dwight Little off of Halloween 4. We got Danny Trejo in here, Peter Jason, Kevin Dunn. So there's a ton of recognizable faces surrounding Seagal in this. Because we all know Seagal wasn't the best actor. So they usually try to put solid character actors around him. And they certainly did that here. Right at the beginning of the film, we see Steven, Hatcher and his partner in Mexico doing a drug bust undercover. And his partner gets killed. He decides to retire or take time off. And he goes back to Chicago to visit his sister and his niece and just kind of chill. And pretty soon, trouble finds him in the shape of this Jamaican voodoo gang. Not the voodoo posse from Predator 2. No, a different voodoo posse led by Screwface, this relentless, very violent psychopath. And pretty much we get action scene after action scene. And pretty much at the end of the day, Hatcher has to take out Screwface. And he does that exactly in a very violent fashion. Matter of fact, this movie was so violent, in fact, and it's pretty violent in its current state, rated R, but they had to cut down the violence to get a rated R. It was even more violent before they cut it down to get the R rating. So I can't even imagine what was cut, because this movie is pretty damn violent, which I'm fine with. But, I was shocked to learn that there was more violent footage they had to cut down to get the rated R. So what to like about this film? Well, back then, I like Seagal's movies from early in his career. I liked Above the Law. I like Hard to Kill, although Hard to Kill is not my favorite. I like this one. This is one of my favorite ones. Under Siege is a good action movie, and I like Under Siege 2, even though it's, kind of corny and over the top. I like Under Siege 2 in a goofy kind of way. So I like some of Seagal's films. I know now he's kind of a joke. He's been a joke for a while, but back then, he was slugging it out against Van Damme and the rest of the action stars. And I like some of those movies. I like revisiting it. And this was one I like revisiting as well. And this is one of the films me and Dale _ from the Bat and Spider podcast watched on our movie night. That's why we're talking about it again. I'm like, let's talk about Marked for Death. I like this film. I'm not going to make no bones about it. I think it's a solid action film. Dwight Little does a nice job with the directing. It's a tight movie, an hour, 33 minutes long. And the action scenes are violent. They're well staged. They're well executed. On a $12 million budget, man, it looks good. It looks good. They did a nice job. I mean, this is back when you had to do real stunts, real explosions, real squib hits. There was no CGI bullshit. So you had to do it for real, and it looks good. It looks really good. They did a nice job here with the action at hand. Is this the most complicated plot? Of course not. It's not. Now, bringing in the Jamaica voodoo stuff, and that was kind of a nice touch. It gave it a little different flavor at that time. Obviously, they were bringing the voodoo stuff with Predator 2, which I like it in that movie as well. Just give it a little bit of a different flavor instead of the same old stuff. And, so it makes it stand out a little bit because it goes off in a little bit of a different direction. But still, it's the same basic plot of most of Seagal's movies. But You know, as an R-rated action fan, I'm there for it, okay? I just want to see the carnage, and they give you carnage aplenty in this film. The villain Screwface is actually named after a Bob Marley song, and there is a lot of Jamaican music in this film, as you would hear because of, you know, it's about a Jamaican voodoo gang, drug gang in Chicago. So this was, back then, Seagal only worked with Warner Brothers forever. Like, his first movies were through Warner Brothers. This was the only movie he made back then that wasn't with Warner Brothers. It was a 20th Century Fox movie. He kind of went off reservation for one movie and then came back, because the rest of his films, until he didn't do theatrical releases anymore, were all done through Warner Brothers, did all of his movies. Now, like I said, at the end of the day, is Seagal a good actor? No, but I used to like his, back then, before he went to direct-to-video hell, the action in his movies were pretty good, especially Under Siege was probably the pinnacle of his movies, is probably his best movie, but this is a close second or third for me. I really like this movie. It's solid. It moves quick. It's not perfect. No, I would never claim that. I wouldn't say it's the best action movie ever, but it's a very solid, hard R action movie, and it gives you everything you want if you're an action fan. It's very violent, and they don't hold back. And I dig it, man. It's a movie I've been watching since I was a kid. I remember renting this in a video store as well. We owned it on VHS later on. I like this one. It's a solid action movie. If you never saw it, I'd highly recommend it. This Blu-ray, if you're a fan, you could get it on Amazon for like $12. It's bare bones, but the transfer is decent. It sounds good. And, you know, these Seagal movies, are they ever going to get a 4K? Maybe Under Siege, because the biggest hit he ever had. But some of these other ones, I don't know. Who knows? You never know. Maybe eventually we'll get a 4K release. But, yeah, this Blu-ray is worth buying if you don't own it and you're a fan of this movie. At the end of the day, I like Marked for Death. I think Dwight Little did a really solid job, like he would do 2 years later on Rapid Fire. So at the end of the day, I would give this bad boy an 8 out of 10. It's a very solid, hard R action movie, and you could do a hell of a lot worse. I mean, this blows stuff away that they're putting on streaming. They're spending 10 times as much on the budget. This has better action scenes than some of those movies they're putting on streaming services. So you could do a hell of a lot worse than Marked for Death. 8 out of 10 for this movie. What are your thoughts on this movie? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Also, let me know what's your favorite Seagal action movie. Everybody has at least one they like. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. That's it for this one. I'll be back soon with another review. But until next time, bye.